Can you do it, guys? It's your boy Dwarfy here, and this is my Xenimus setup and character guide. Now, I'm going to basically be making a level guide. This is going to be a level guide for a 1 to 70, 70 being the level cap, and I'm going to be making this for a Warlock. So if this is your first time playing Xenimus and you're new, strap in, because this is going to be basically a pretty decent in-depth guide on how to level your first character in Xenimus, and how to get to max level, and from there basically you can figure out the game and decide if you want to make another class or something like that, if you want to change your playstyle up. But we are going to be making a Warlock. Now on the left hand side you have your path, light and darkness. They are two different sides, good or evil. These used to play a factor, now these days they don't. Who knows, they may again in the future sometimes, but basically light is good, dark is evil, and you also have your there's basically a quest you can do in the game where you can go and hit this shrine, and it gives you +7 into all of your stats. Now you can see on the right hand side you have attribute stats. There are 5 stats: strength, agility, cons, intel, wisdom, and we'll get into what they do a little bit later while we create our character. But for the meantime, basically there is a quest you can do once you're level 36 and you have finished some sub-quests and killed bosses prior to this, where you receive something called a Warlock or Valentra. So on screen right now I will show you the Warlock symbol and I will show you the Valentra symbol, and basically these symbols will be underneath your player if someone right clicks you and checks your name, and that's basically all it is. It's just a visual thing, so it depends on your preference if this plays a role, you know, visually, whether you want to be good or evil in when someone right clicks you and looks at your name and inspects your character name. That's basically all that's doing. So we're going to be actually playing light. I can show you the races we have. We do have a Dreg, which is what I have currently now. You can see that characters have different starting stats. If I go to an elf, they have different starting stats. They all start with the same amount of points. There's nothing different. So this one has 22 points but starts with 13 intel, as the elf has 23 points and starts with a 12 stat. So basically at the end of the character creation they will all have the same amount of points put into their starting character. We have a human. If we go over to the dark side, we have dark elf, we have a little lurker, we have a half orc, and we also have a minion. Now if we do go to a Dreg, for instance, say we go to Scallion, which is the class that we're going to be currently playing. You can see down here when you click on Scallion, it will give you a bit of a brief description, and it says starting spirit ability. Now spirit ability is a built-in bonus. It's kind of like a race attribute that you get. So this will give me additional armor. If I go to something like a human, it will be strongest spirit and ice magic. You know, these kind of things can play effect, and this kind of sometimes warrants on what race you want to play. Dark Elf, for instance, stronger fire and shadow magic. You could make a Warlock out of this, seeing as though Warlocks do use shadow and fire, but the problem with a Dark Elf is that this character actually starts out with 12 agility, and agility is a skill that we do not need on a Warlock. So that being said, you can play around with this, have a look, see what you like, but I'm going to be basically making a guide to show you what the most optimal thing is, the easiest class to make, which is a Warlock. So we're going to be making a light Scallion. We're going to make female. Male and female really doesn't do much. You can get castles in the game. If you go and own a castle, you have to basically fight off the guards. Pretty easy, but other players can take them from you. And you become king or queen of that respected castle, which gives you a damage bonus. So yeah, male or female, that's choice is yours. I'm going to be making female, and I'm going to be making a witch or warlock, basically the same thing. And okay, so over on the right hand side you can see once I've clicked on witch, it will actually tell me warlocks and witches use damaging spells along with poisons and damage over time. So these guys have a lot of dots, and basically probably one of the easiest classes to level in the game, and that is why we are doing this guide, because I want you guys that are new to the game to find something easy to level. I want you to get into the game, get your hands dirty, you know, see if it's for you. So once we do click witch, over on the right hand side you can see that it's greened out constitution, intel and wisdom. Pretty sure intel is the highest ability we need. So intel is The skill that we need max, that's going to give me our damage bonuses and stuff like that. Constitution's going to give our HP or hit points. And wisdom is going to be a small requirement, which I need to keep very low. I think by the end game, it's roughly about 22 wisdom end game to be able to equip certain items. So basically, my main skill is going to be intel, and then I want somewhat cons. The build that I'm going to be going for at the end of this series is 45 constitution, 81 intel, and 22 wisdom. That is going to be basically my 3 stats here. So this will be 45, 81, 22. Strength and agility we ain't going to touch. So starting off, you can assign so many points. You can't have free range. Like for instance, I can't go higher than 22 intel right now. It's basically capped in, and it's built. There's a built-in cap for each class. So 22 intel, going to be maxing that out first. Then the rest points is into constitution as high as I can go. Leaves me 5 points, which is going to give me 15 wisdom. So this is basically going to be the starting stats for my Skelly cleric or witch. So yeah, let's go on to creating a name and getting into the game. Alright, now we've entered our name in. Character name is going to be Nagini. We've got 18 constitution, 22 intel, 15 wisdom. We are making, again, a light scallion female witch. We can change our colors if we must. We can go like a pretty red head. Just going to change the eye colors. Let's go red eyes, red head. That's cool. Alright, character was saved. So you can see here, Nagini, level 1 witch. Basically click on that and then start, and you're going to be entered into the game. Now you kind of might want to get out of town quickly, as there might be a little bit of too much volume going on, and you can see we have a bunch of stuff on our screen. Now this is where we're going to set up our screen. So if you press escape, it's going to open up. This is how you log out of the game, by the way. Escape and then just log off if you wish to log off. But we're going to press escape again, go down to the bottom right hand corner, and we're going to set keys. We're going to click keys. Now, this is going to be how you set keys in Xenimus. Keys are going to be for spells that you can see over here, buffs, and so on, that kind of thing, as well as just normal regular actions you can do. So there is a bunch of generic key sets that have been set. So you can see view mode is V. V will actually will rotate your camera from directly to two-dimensional, looking directly straight down, or in the current mode, which is 2.5D, and stuff like that. You've got inventory, player stats, drop item, cast spell, all that kind of stuff. Stop action is going to be one that's going to be needed to be set to a key if you wish to get out of like gas form, or other actions in the game where you might want to, you know, uninvis yourself, and stuff like that. So that's going to be one of the keys we're going to need to set. So to set a key, I'm going to go drop item is actually set to O for some reason, and I personally like to have it set to D, just because D for drop, you know, pretty explanatory. But certain people and you guys will have different ways of setting up your skills and where you want to set them. So basically, click on the skill or the key that you want to set, click on that, then go to set key, click on that, and then press the key. And you can see there, I just pressed D on my keyboard and it's changed it to drop item. Now we're going to go down to stop action. I like to set stop action to my tab, left tab, but you guys do with what you want. Switch weapon is currently set to R. I'm actually going to set it to backslash. So again, just click it and then click set key and then the key that you wish to set. These other ones, you can change some of these if you wish to. I personally don't need to. Info on other player, I'm going to click this, and this is basically to find out someone's name. So I'm going to set key and set it to right click on my mouse. So if I right click somebody, it was going to show me their name underneath their player character. The only other two is toggle first person view. I like to put this on my middle mouse wheel click, which is number 3. If you don't have a middle mouse click, by all means you can set that to something else, but first person view is quite handy. You can see that mouse look key in first person is actually set to 2, which is my right click. So if I hold right click down, I will show you after this, but if I do hold right click down, you can look around in first person and just move the camera freely. And the other one is life-saving amulet key. Now this is if you die and you have a life-saving amulet on, which are quite easy to get. You need to either type dash return manually every time you want to get up, or you can set it to a key. So I'm currently going to set this to my left control, and that's it. That's basically the generic main keys, as you can see, set. By all means, like, you know, enter or return on your keyboard is going to start typing a chat message, I for inventory, P for player stats, that kind of thing. If you want to use an item, U. You won't manually cast out of your spell book. You will be setting keys for that, which is what we're going to do now. So it's actually currently already tried to set a few of these keys, and I'm going to click on damage. You can see you can open these drop downs here. Buffs doesn't have anything, debuffs help, helping aid does, skill other. I'm just going to open them all, and as you level, these will actually increase. You'll get other skills and abilities in here that you can set to keys. So this 1 to 0 is usually what I use for my buffs, as well as my my items that I use, and I usually keep that from 1 to 0. So I'm going to go down here to quick bar 2. You have a bunch of stuff you can actually set keys to, so it's up to you, free range as to what you do. So I'm going to set Venom to a skill. So I click down here on no action, I click set key, I press E. E is going to be the skill, the key that I want to set. It still has no action, and then on the right I just click on the skill I want to set. If I want to set Agretti, I could go here, set R. If I was clicked on this, for instance, and I clicked Agretti, it's going to set Agretti to that. So you want to be clicked on the one that you have a key set to, and click Agretti on that. If you want to get rid of one, you just simply have to press delete on your keyboard. Just delete, and it will delete it. If I wish to get rid of Agretti, delete will delete the skill. Second delete will delete the key that's set to that skill. If you wish to wipe them, so basically, yeah, set key and then Agretti, and that is it. Now we're going to go OK. As you can see, we are in first person mode, and I did send that to my middle mouse key, so if I wish to click that, I can get out. What I was talking about was the view, which is V. V is actually going to make it top down, or 2.5D, depending on which one you want to play. You can see the you can see this little sign over here that's moving, you know, like that. So that's just to show which way you wish to play. Personally, I like to play in 2.5D. If we do go back into first person mode, mouse wheel will scroll in and out and zoom in and out of your character. And like I said, right click is the generic. You hold that down and you will actually be able to move the camera around just like that. Now, to set keys, to make sure that they are set, you actually need to log out of the game so it creates a save file. So if I click escape and then log off and log out of the game, I'm currently saved those keys. They are now bound to my character. Just go back into login, start, and log back into my character, and we are good to go. Now we're going to set up a bit of our UI, or our user interface, so to speak, in just a little bit more of a personal manner on how I like to play it. I don't really need these hotbars down the bottom, but you could keep them there if you want. So I'm going to go to keys again, and we are going to go to options. If I go to options, this is my options page for my user interface as well as some other things. Now, particles, normal. Music I'm going to turn off. If you like to play with a bit of music, you can. Bad words I'm going to turn on, so I know if somebody's swearing at me. Middle HP and horizontal HP MP bars I do like to keep up there. And we're going to go down to the bottom. Quick bar 1. So this is going to be your quick bar for your skills. I'm actually going to turn this off. I don't like to use it. You can keep it on if you wish to. Show experience stats. Now that's going to show experience made, experience gained, and time to next level. This is definitely a beneficial thing where you're leveling to actually have on your screen. And we're also going to put show item quantity. Item quantity is going to show us a list in a chat, in a text form on our screen, basically of what we have equipped and what we have in our inventory. And it's very handy to track what you have, how much potions you have left, and that kind of thing, to need to know if you have to go back to town and restock on supplies. Now, once this is all clicked, we're going to click adjust GUI, which is going to allow us to adjust and drag our user interface into positions where we want them. Then just click OK. Go OK again, and you can see that this has come up with a lot of X's and stuff like that. Now these are basically all our user interfaces, and we can drag and drop. Now at the top left hand corner you can see this little white, like grey box with a blue X in it. That is going to click on that, left click on that, and be able to drag it around. So we are going to move some stuff around just so we can see what we're looking at. This is the experience that I was talking about. This is a very handy box to have, just to know that you're leveling in the right place, and that you're not over leveled for a certain area. So I'm going to drag that down. We'll put it somewhere there in the bottom left hand corner, somewhere, you know, out of the road. This here is just going to be our HP, MP, and our experience tracker bar. I'm going to put that nicely snug in between those two. This is our chat, so if we do want to type chat, I'm going to put that right above that. If we just want to type chat, this top left one here you can see is guild and world chat location, and I'll talk about that a little bit later on how to get into world chat and how to join a link. If you want to join a link or a guild, This is going to be our boss name, so we kind of want that in the middle of our screen if we're going to be fighting a boss. That way we've got a decent view of his HP bar. And this is going to be just a buff bar. So our buffs will go gradually out from left to right from this little strength that we've got on, and I'm just going to drag him down over the corner here. We can actually use this right one here to minimize and maximize this if we want to. I might actually just make this really small because I don't need that HP and MP part of it, because I do have it down on my screen down below, as well as these curved cursors around my character. And I'll just grab the top left one with left click again. That way I still keep my buffs. Okay, once this is all set, as you can see over the right here, we have our map as well as the equipped items that I said about earlier. So this will be a list from top to bottom, and we'll just go down here with a list of items that we have. Once this is all done and it's in a position that you like, simply press escape and then escape again to log off. Simply log back into your character now, and we can log straight back in, and just like that, everything is set. Now you can see my character is currently red here. If we do hit that red basically means that my character is invisible. You can be invisible to certain monsters. Bugs, this bug over here won't actually be able to see us, but there will be other mobsters around that will be able to see us, and actually if we're invisible, they won't be able to. So if I do want to get myself out of invisibility, I just hit my tab, which is my stop action key, and that's going to take me out of invisibility. So that's fine, just like that. Okay, so we are going to want to set a skill. You can see down the bottom right here, a skill is flashing. You do start with 1 skill point as a level 1 character. If we do want to go to check our character's level, we just press P. That's going to bring up our stats, and you can see here, level 1, we are a female Scallion Witch. It's going to show us a bunch of different bonuses and resists, as well as our skill points, hit points, power, all that kind of good stuff. Press escape from there. We're going to set a skill point. Okay, now you can see right here that this is a bunch of different skills. This is the skill tree essentially, and for a Warlock or Witch, melee is something that we do not need to look at all. That is completely, we do not need to look at that whatsoever. Resists is going to be magic resist to each different attribute. So we're going to have like resist energy, resist ice, shadow, etc. You can see there the 5 different elements. Magic, this is going to be basically giving us bonus into each thing. If you do hover over an ability, it will tell you what it is giving. And as a Warlock, we're going to be dealing with Shadow Devotion, which is going to give us 2% shadow damage and resistance at a -1 spirit resistance and a -1 energy resistance. You can see there max 0.6 based on wisdom. So based on how much wisdom we have, we can go up. Seeing as though we're not going to have too much wisdom and we're actually going to be getting more intel, we can't put this too super high, but high enough that it's going to be beneficial to our character. If we hit the arrow across here, these are the Warlock and Witch specific ones. Shadow Power is going to be our bread and butter in terms of leveling. You can see there all damage over time spells, which basically all our leveling abilities are 20% stronger for 1 minute. That goes up to 5 minutes, which is on a 6-minute cooldown. So basically it's almost constantly up at an extra 20% damage. Leech, not very useful. Resist Mastery is though, and that's basic bonus 1% resistance per point that you assign to it in all forms of resistance. So that will give us 1% in fire, energy, shadow, ice, and spirit for 1 point into that. But you do require level 20 and a total resistances of 20. So this screen here needs to sum up to 20 before we can actually put points into that. So we're going to go into magic, and we can't actually do shadow power. You need to be level 10 for that, so I will be saving points for that as I get closer to level 10, so that way once I do get level 10 I can drop 5 points into it straight away and max it out. But for now we're going to be putting a point into Shadow Devotion, so 1 point in Shadow Devotion and escape, just like that. So we're going to go up here, and there's going to be a guard. This is basically the quest guide, and his name is Rygeron. If you right click on him, it will tell you his name. If you left click on him, that will give you a quest. But that's going to be the end of it for this video. This was basically just an introduction into how to set up a character. Once you're set up and you're at this stage, we can then finally get into leveling, and I can show you guys leveling spots, different techniques, you know, certain combos to use in abilities and skills while you're leveling, and just kind of the general like area location and that kind of thing, because that is what is hard, is figuring out where you need to level and what you should be leveling on up until certain points. And then from there, basically, once you got a feel for the game, free to do with what you want. If you do wish to continue with the Warlock, we will be going all the way to 70. If you don't want to play the Warlock and you want to dabble in another class, like a melee class, or a different caster, then you can do so. But this is basically just a generic version of how to get into the game and how to get a feel for how to play. So, yeah, next video I will be back and I'll be showing you basically the leveling techniques from get to 1 to 70 on a Warlock in Xenimus.